Like this is, yeah. I'm almost going to get tears in my eyes talking about this event. It was so good.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of eSKATE Chat with Evolve. We're going to change it up, do things a little bit different. I've jumped into the archives and pulled out some videos which are a little bit of a blast from the past. We're going to get your thoughts of what was happening behind the scenes at the time, your reactions to what they look like nowadays. So that should be fun. If anyone's listening on the audio only networks, there's going to be a ton of video in this one. So it might be worth jumping across to YouTube. If not, listen in. It'll still all make sense. Before we get stuck in, what's new? What's been happening at Evolve in the past sort of month?
Right, the past month, wow, so much has been happening. We've had a few key group rides. We had one down in Sydney just recently, and it was over 100 people came. It was a good turnout. Teamed up with one of our retailers, Ben Buckler. There's another one over in San Diego, and that was with one of our key retailers, San Diego. Another good event. We've had a sale going on the last couple of weeks, $200 off in various locations where we've got heaps of stock everywhere. So if ever there's a good time to get yourself a brand new board with warranties at a good price, now's the time. Other stuff, we've hired a couple of new staff members, like literally started this week, one in our marketing department, another one in our product design team. The ball is rolling, heaps of stuff happening overseas. Obviously the season is just starting, we know the sun's coming out finally in the Northern Hemisphere. So things are gearing up over there. I dare say a lot of people are pretty keen to, brush off the cobwebs and look forward to the sunshine and warmer weather and surfing and carving times.
I've definitely seen a lot of posts where someone's going along a footpath and the snow is pushed to the side and it's their first time back on the board, and they said, yeah, exactly, brush the cobwebs off, it's skate time, we're back on now.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine what that feels like living in a location like that where it's so seasonal. But if we're to relate anything, the last week here in Australia, we've had like dead set 5 days of just constant rain and major floods everywhere. It's chaos here. But like literally this morning, the sun is out, the blue sky is here. And if we're trying to like compare apples for apples, yeah, I mean, the sun's out, everyone's stoked. The surf is up. There's some good waves happening. So as soon as this podcast is done, I've got 2 minutes to do and I'm out of here. Like it's 3-4 foot perfect. Just heads up.
Nice. I'll stay here and get this podcast done. While we were talking about group rides, we had those 2 in Sydney and San Diego. April's looking like there's going to be quite a lot of action happening. It's pretty much all on the Facebook pages for the relevant places. We have Melbourne, Australia, a 12 board store, and Cali Kites in San Francisco. Both of them are happening on the 17th of April. On the 4th of April, one of our ambassadors, TLP, he's running New York's first official ride. So jump on, I think it's through the New York eSKATE Collective, another group on Facebook. We haven't made it official yet, but there's going to be one in New Zealand. So that's the first post-COVID group ride in New Zealand coming up in late April. And then there's going to be another one in the Los Angeles, San Diego area as well.
Yeah, action.
So tons happening, and they're the official ones. I know Brandon in Chicago is working on one now. The weather's coming good. The London community is coming out of their lockdowns mid next month. It's happening.
There's going to be some numbers turning up to these. I mean, we've been in lockdown. The weather's been crap. It's time to get out and just have some fun. So, yeah, it's exciting. Yeah, Northern Hemisphere, summer's coming.
And we've seen, obviously, a lot of people decided during lockdown to get into eSKATE. So the numbers within the industry have gone up. So when it comes back to group rides, there's going to be a lot of new faces. So,
and I guess there could be some logistical challenges in running those events as well.
We did see that in Sydney. That was the biggest group ride we've ever done in Sydney by oh man, almost double compared to when we launched the GTR and did one.
Yeah.
Yeah, have 100 riders out. You need a pretty decent route and good organization.
Yeah.
But awesome vibes, good vibes. All right, let's get stuck into this. So yeah, people will be watching the video sort of around here somewhere.
Yeah.
We'll watch it here.
Okay.
I thought, what better place to start than the very first video on the YouTube channel? So we're throwing back 9 or 10 years now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. What is the date of this video?
I think it's 2011. I'd have to double check.
Wow. So, okay, let's talk about, this is the first video I ever made, and it was right at the time where Evolve hadn't really even been born yet. Like, we were probably still trying to work out what to call ourselves. The board I was riding in this video was, it was a Sector 9 fishtail. I think it was a Rincon deck, and the electrics on the board was off I bought a Chinese board, and yeah, we basically pulled the electrics off that deck because it wasn't great, and we jimmied up some a motor plate and electric system and used Sector 9 wheels to get the drive system. Right at this time, it was probably 6 weeks earlier. I had a surfing accident, and I still remember I did some discs in my neck, and I was on some like hardcore prednisone tablets because that was if I had gone the other way, I would have been in some serious trouble. So I was like wired, right then it was just such a grassroots moment. It was like, right, we are doing this. We're creating electric skateboards. And I had some time off work, and then all I could just think of is, how rad this is, like to go on a new journey. That's all I thought. It was just the moments, the carving, surfing, and what's ahead. It was a really interesting time, and 10, 12 years later, I keep trying to bring my mindset back to these times about why did we do this, and the feeling at the time, because all these people who are new to eSKATE, I dare say that they're going to have this honeymoon period as well. You're going to get on the board and just get this pure passion. And that's, for me at this time, that's exactly what this was. And it's the first time I've ever like made a video. It was crazy. It was so much fun trying to just get out there and film myself and not do landscaping and just, live in the moment. And that's what all those feelings, bring back to me watching that. It's a good time, man. Yeah.
Yeah. And it looks like the videos that our customers do. They just get out there and they just ride and they just have fun.
I was watching at the time too a lot of Warren Miller movies. Like I love the old school snowboard movies and skiing. And when you watch those movies, these guys have so much passion when they talk about why they snowboard or ski and how it makes them feel at the time. And I definitely wanted to try to get that in the messaging that I was doing in the videos. It's just in the moment, have fun, just kick ass.
Well, it's like you've thrown me a segue to the next film, because the next film is the third film on the channel.
What's this one?
Rules are made for people who aren't willing to make their own.
Okay.
Press play.
All right. Yeah, this is another one of my GoPro video moments. Oh, yeah. Yes, man. Okay. All right, so this was definitely a little further in the journey where we were starting Evolve, and this is our Car Park Madness video. As you can see, I'm dressed in snowboard gear, strangely enough. Hey, but it was in the middle of winter. And wow, this is... And look at the logo up the top. See, it's almost like a Coca-Cola Evolve logo. We were still playing around with our logo. So we had named the brand, but we were still working things out. But man, this was so much fun. What I was trying to do in this video is create, the Top Gear, when you're going through those chicanes and you see the camera right down on the road and you see the wheels going one way and then that way, the other way. So I definitely tried to structure the cameras in various locations in this car park. It was in Ashmore. This is the area where I used to grow up. And like it's the same car park that I used to skate when I was 10 years, 12 years of age. I used to take my Tony Hawk skateboard down there. The surface is so smooth. There's never anyone down there. I used to do Taekwondo in that center there, and it was always empty on a weekend, and there's a really good steep hill on the back, and I used to take my board there and sit on my ass and fly down it. But when I watched that video, it's just grassroots evolve. It's like I just got to keep, there's times where we're at now, I watch those videos and I just think, just keep things simple, man. This is what it's about. It's about just riding, having fun, and I don't know why, I'm trying to remember, I'm dressed in snowboard gear, but I was so into snowboarding, and I still am surfing and snowboarding, but the whole vision was going down a mountain and just carving, but now you can do it on this product, a skateboard that has a motor. And I just love it. And
was that the same board from the first video?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, exactly the same board. You could see it had some nice flex on it. I was in my Ugg boots, and that's the same gear, like the Sessions jacket, and I still wear it. Like it's a rad jacket. We were in Japan a few months ago. That's what still got the same kit.
Yeah, I'll toss up some photos. I got a photo of you on the GTR shoot wearing it. So you shot the GTR in that jacket.
Yeah, it's a great shell. It keeps you warm, and I don't need to keep buying shit. Like this is, I love green, and this is where it all started, man. So grassroots, yeah.
It's like the segues keep coming.
All right, what's next? Ooh,
this is Evolve's first photo studio, apparently.
Okay, this is definitely, everyone's going to piss themselves laughing at this.
But hey, it works. So tell us about this board.
Okay, all right. So this was when we had just sold our house at Southport and we moved into this rental property at Broad Beach Waters. So Evolve was officially happening. All the tools and molds had been made, and we had already released the snub nose and pintail, and we're just coming out with our first all-terrain board. And this is the first carbon fiber electric skateboard like anywhere. Like this was the number one. And what we tried to do with this board was we used carbon fiber because we knew that we could mold the shape, and we wanted to mold the shape around the electrics, and we wanted to create an electric skateboard that didn't look electric. And we did a pretty good job. Like our concept was, can we get the electrics, inside the deck somewhat? And this was designed in 2013. And I think the time, or might have been, it was definitely 2013. Then it came out in 2014. And basically it's the first AT board that we ever did. It just changed the game for us. Like it was a very popular board.
It's definitely set some standards in terms of what are you looking at, because there's a lot of boards now following the internal sort of...
Well, the next one from here, we didn't quite get this design right where I wanted it. Like we had the battery case underneath. There was a little bit of flex in the deck, even though it's carbon fiber, it was actually quite flexy, and a lot of our customers liked it, and it was longer. But using carbon fiber, we learn a lot on this board, because the first time we put it together and I strapped the electrics to it, and we had we had the receiver, which was always attached to the motor controller. As soon as we put it all together, bang, it didn't work. Like it was like, why isn't this working? It should be working. And then, oh man, we finally worked out that because it's all carbon fiber, it was blocking all the signal. The signal couldn't get out. So it took ages to work that out. And then we hung the receiver out by these wires, and then it finally worked. And then it was like, all right, well, we need to find a new place. We need to put a hole in the deck. So that's where we decided to make this funny looking kicktail with a hole in it, and it had its own little special receiver box. So yeah, we learned a lot with this board. But there was limitations with it, trying to put it together. You can see all the wires, all the screws under the deck. Often they used to fall out due to the flex. So there were some limitations to it. It wasn't waterproof. But that was the first one, and then the next step for us there, that's when we designed the GT carbon deck, which then the next version of that was the GTR carbon deck. So it's been slowly evolving, pardon the pun, but over time. And I think with the carbon GT, we really definitely got it right because it was fully encased, all the electrics.
Fully encased. You swapped over to dual motors on the back.
Yep.
Way more power. Like this thing probably rode sweet.
Oh, it was, those big motors, like they were the brushless DC motors, and man, they were like bricks. They seriously were. You could just smash them on gutters, and we used to, our service department used to see these motors coming back and they were destroyed, but they always work. They never break, but they had no power and they were really quiet too. But having an all-terrain board with only a 350 watt motor on the back and only driving one wheel, it's probably not the way to go.
It's a lesson learned. And the trucks on it, are they wider?
Yes. Yeah, they were. They were like 406 mil or 430 mil, 406 mil wide, I think they were. And we couldn't use our original struts on that from the street boards. They were really narrow. But let's talk about the photo studio. Like, all right, so this was outside of our garage, and this is when it was just myself and my wife Fleur, and it was just us doing everything. We were doing the product design, we were doing the website design, we're doing all the marketing, we're doing all the assembly, all the customer service, the support, and we also did our own photography. This was right outside our garage. It was on a table. We got this dodgy white sheet, cloth material. I can't remember what it was.
It almost looks like paper, like butcher's paper.
Yeah, I think it was. And Fleur, had some skills when it came to Photoshop. So if you go back to when it was actually on the website, it was not too bad.
Yeah,
no one would have known.
No, I mean, it worked. You were still selling out of them.
We were. This was a hard board to make. Like, again, carbon fiber. Each deck was handmade, and man, we could only make so many of them. It was difficult. What I loved about this board too is that it was so thin. The flat pack cells that we're using. One of the advantages of those cells is clearly, you can save a lot of room. Great memories. Didn't quite get it right, but that's where it first started. That was the first electric, skateboard that was made out of carbon fiber with built-in half electrics. Didn't quite get there.
Let's keep it rolling and have a look at some of these boards in action.
Oh, okay. Yeah. This is the first Evolve Riders World Cup in France, in Courtebron. Wow. I feel as though this was a huge moment for electric skateboarding and what it means to be an e-skater and what it means to be part of a community. So we teamed up with William, our French distributor, and a couple of key members of the community over there. And this was this was the first day. It was an AT race. The weather was perfect. I think we had about sort of 40 or 50 people come there. We're all using our Gen 1 boards, so you can see they weren't going very fast. But what was awesome about this was just the community, the vibe, the passion. Everyone just was there to have fun and just party. It had like this festival vibe. This was the downhill race. This was probably my favorite part of the competition. The Courtebron village was just sensational. Olivia Lefranc, he was the one who really got this together. Hats off to you, man. This was his hometown, and it was just such a sensational time. Everyone had such a good time. There's Liam Munn.
A lot of faces that you still see all the time.
Yeah.
And this was 2016.
This was the grassroots of where I think the Evolve community really began. Like that, everyone met. We had a Facebook group. You can see there's about 30, 40 people there. It was just the biggest party. Like literally after the event, we went back to the little main village, and a lot of the people in the local villages congregated in this town square, and there was food put on. It was this old school village. It was so beautiful. It was the picturesque location, and then like the Tour de France, where you see all those people, going down the bikes and people hanging out the windows and like ringing their bells. And that's what this was like, because you're going down these tight little streets and the locals were hanging out the windows watching all these crazy people on these, electric skateboards going downhill really quick. And then I remember at every night after the food, everyone was just hanging out, just drinking and, having a good time.
Having a good time.
And just riding to like 2-3 in the morning. And then people, some of the guys were like riding in the dark, like 2 or 3K at 2 in the morning, trying to get home, and did the same thing again the next day. And the after party, like this is, I'm almost going to get tears in my eyes talking about this event. It was so good.
It's like the core culture and like a starting point for community, competition. Yeah. It's awesome. This was definitely community, some level of competition, there's no doubt about it, but it was just everyone was there to have a good time, and such a festival vibe. And so I think I definitely see the future of electric skateboarding for events. It needs to be a combination of exactly that. It has to be a celebration, a festival, and incorporating just having a good time, meeting people, your friends, and just talking shit and just having fun. But then if you can combine that with like the guys who really know how to ride and who are just that next level craziness, not everyone wants to be like that, but people just want to do it for the fun. So if you get those ingredients right in the mix, it'd be a good event. So what was, I guess, a learning to take away from that first event?
I think the biggest thing that we took away from that event was on the first day on the BMX track, and we're doing time trials. That's where it all started. It was like one person at a time going around the track, and who can beat this time. And that was good and all, but it was taking a long time to get through the proceedings, and especially the boards with Gen 1s, single motors, they weren't very quick at the time. But then we realized that as it was going so slow, it's like, maybe we should get 2 people on at the same time. And as soon as we did that, the whole energy just changed. Everyone was like, oh my God, there's people racing against each other now. And this brings a whole new element. And so people wanted to, support whoever's riding. And then there was some accidents, and, it's just the excitement of falling off. And there were a couple of really close races because the boards were just matched evenly in terms of motors and capabilities, and it's up to the rider. So I think that's important for races moving forward, is that if you're going to have these races, you need to have the board specs and categories the same. And then it comes down to the skill of the rider, because that makes a huge difference. You could have a slower board but be a better rider and probably beat someone who's got a faster board. So, I think it's So as soon as you bring people racing against each other, energy changes. So that's a takeaway. It's what you need.
The very next video is what you just described.
Oh, yes. Okay, this is the Evolve Riders World Cup in the USA. Okay, so we learned a lot. We had 2 events before this, and both were in France. One was in Courtebouron, the other one was in Paris. And this time we did it in USA, and we wanted a different flavor. And I feel as though this event was a well-oiled machine. It was... the location was very nice, I guess what I mean by location is like where we stayed. We stayed, I think it was called the Dana Hotel, and we were trying to really create an experience for all the riders on and off the field. But I still remember right here, this race here. This was the first race. It was an all-terrain event. It was at Chula Vista Olympic BMX track.
You can see the humps there. They look pretty menacing.
These were full on, and this start especially, because no one has done a start like that before. It's like
actual proper BMX start gate.
Proper BMX style. And I remember, I got to tell you this, when it was like 6:30 in the morning, no, 7 o'clock in the morning, everyone rocked up in the bus, right? And we had already set up where all the tents are, and then 40, 50 people got off the two buses, and they walked up and they looked down, and you should have seen the vibe. They were like shitting their pants. Yeah, it was intimidating, man. Like some of those tabletops were big, and it was Olympic track. So we had to like try to really talk people through it, calm them down. It's all good. You don't have to be a professional. You can go as fast as you want. And then really, a couple of people did pull out because it was a little bit above them, unfortunately. But once they had one or two races, everyone was having a really good time. And again, I still remember the final race. Tyler was the front runner. You know, we were thinking Tyler was going to win. He beat everyone all day long, except for some of the other guys. You know, the top 8 were all quality riders. And then we were thinking, yeah, Tyler's got this. And then no, Samo came through. It came through with the goods. It was such an awesome race. He got him at the second turn coming out of the berm, and Tyler just made one slight false move. He was slightly off balance, and then Samo, man, he was like this freight train. He just hammered Tyler. He got him on that third straight, and I didn't think Tyler was ready for it. He was like, "Whoa, that was good. That was a good maneuver." Great event. And then that was the AT race. Then we went to the street race, and this was at K1 Speedway as a go-kart track. It was very short, but it was quite technical. And what was really good about it is that the straights weren't too long, so you can only just get up to full speed. And you really, to really capture the event and get the best times, you really had to get your lines right coming in and out of those corners. Everyone had a lot of fun at this event, and I really think by the end of this street race, everyone was pretty tired. Like, there was a lot of riding. Oh yeah, look at that.
It just looks so professional. Like everyone's got the jerseys, the location itself. It couldn't be more professional.
Yeah. It was the location was perfect, and the guys at K1 really were awesome. The track was ideal. It was a professional run event. Like it was a well-oiled machine. We had the commentators, Trav, doing a good job. All the time trials. We had transponders. You could see what times you were getting. But yeah, having like 6, 7 at each race was just awesome. And then here we go, the grand final. So again, it was like this show: Tyler versus Samo versus Mikkel, Art, Justin Morgan. Oh man. Yeah, look at this. Tyler's flying. Samo was always on his tail the whole way through.
He's so stoked.
Yeah, and he looks young there, doesn't he?
Yeah. Oh, he would have been, 16, 17 or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I remember after this event, after the street race and the final, this is the... oh, wow. Yeah, okay. So after the street race on Saturday, we ended up having a big party, great location around the beach. I remember there was just rad food and all you can eat and drinks. And then the World Cup was pretty much done. And then we just wanted to host another race where we just wanted anyone to rock up, any board, and just have a good time. You know, we wanted to not just evolve. And yeah, the wild card, we had some seriously fast boards come along. I remember all the Stooge guys came along with their boards, and they were like insanely quick. The track was good for Evolve because it didn't allow the boards to get up to too, high top speed. So by the time you got to the end, you may be just reaching top speed, and then you had to back off. So that was not great for the Stooge guys. But that final race was electric. Like, there were so many Evolve supporters there, and then we had the handful of the DIY crowd and the other brands. And I remember that final race. It was this energy, this tense feeling in the room, and a lot of people wanted Evolve to win. But then, of course, a lot of people also wanted the other guys to win. And it was the Stooge boards versus Evolve. They were a lot more high powered than our boards were. We tweaked our boards a little bit from the previous day. Not a lot. We change some of the motor controller settings and add a little bit more current in. There's only so much we could do at the time without changing the whole system. And yeah, Tyler and Samo and Mikkel, they worked as a team, and I remember Tyler ended up winning. One of the Stooge guys fell off on the last lap. We were in front, but he was just behind. Such a good time. But again, you know, I think you're going to do races like that, different boards against each other. They need to really be the same sort of specs, at least the same battery voltage. That's what I think. It all comes down to the...
We discussed that topic on last fortnight's episode of the podcast with Joe W. And sort of, we try to throw it to the community. What do you see in terms of categories? Should it be, 12S boards and 10S boards? Should it be motor size? Should it be like ages come into it? Rider weight? Like, it's very difficult to try and like tee up all of these things and say, all right, this is where we're going to do without doing a week-long event. Yeah,
definitely. And plus you want it to be a fair race. You know, they do it in motorsport. You're not going to have different, cars racing each other with different, specs. So I definitely think it should be, you should be matching voltages, 10S category or 12S or whatever. And I would definitely talk about sort of, KV size on the motors as well. Power of the motors and battery voltage is a big one. Yep. So if you match those, and then it comes down to if the rider wants to change different wheel sizes, because you know that if they're going to use bigger wheels, it's going to get high top speed, but it's going to be different torque settings. So,
which is cool though, because then it's almost like the F1 team is tuning the car within the certain limits for what the track demands.
Yeah, exactly. And then it comes down to the rider and what the track can handle. And so you have to really sort of think, what is the best setup for this track? I also think that, as you see on those at K1 on the surface there, everyone were using AT wheels. All the rubber, the Stooge guys had like rubber which had great grip as well. So I think maybe there should be some more of a category, AT wheels versus street wheels, because if you're on a street wheel, you need skill. Because those wheels around those tight corners, you can slide. And if you don't get that line right, and if you don't hold that drift at the right time, you're going to lose speed or you're going to come off. So, and it's not really fair to have like an AT wheel getting maximum traction on the tightest corner at top speed versus a street wheel that's going to drift and probably not have...
urethane category, 100%.
Should be.
That'd be super cool. I think that's something you'll see out of us at some point.
Yeah, definitely. Agreed.
Yeah. We've probably got time for one more. There's a few more to choose from.
Okay.
So we got the final race at the UK Open. We got a few clips of
Which UK Open though? We did a couple.
The last one, the indoor
The Tramper versus Evolve.
The Tramper versus Evolve race.
That was wicked.
We got a few clips from the boys in New Zealand that do jumps and stuff.
Yep.
Bit of progression.
Yep.
We got some behind the scenes riding the scenic stuff in New Zealand. I think that's about it.
Well, it's up to you, man. You play whatever's in the list. All right. So this is in New Zealand. This is in Queenstown. Man, that was... Yeah, we found this. We're in the mountain bike trails and the tracks, and we were trying to... So all these mountain bike tracks went through all the pine forests, and there was some hardcore berms and jumps and not suited for our product at the time, but we found a few sections where we could ride. Doesn't look that steep, but it actually was. And, oh, yes, that was... Geez, he like... escape. That could have been a lot worse. Luckily we're wearing IXS pads, man. But yeah, so basically that first run there were two sort of here we go. So I can't keep up here. There's so much action. Yeah, there were two berms. One went over to the right and then one to the left, and then it transitioned to a big one to the right. And it was that little transition from the two small ones to the bigger one where it was a bit hard to really get your balance properly, and the wheels were sliding out, and it was a little bit uneven too. There's a couple
of rocks in there.
Yeah. So it was quite dangerous. Yeah, I had a good stack as well. I came off and Nick came off. But I mean, to be in that environment, overlooking that lake and in the middle of summer, but it wasn't hot. It was epic.
Well, that's why I threw it in there, because I remember there's been a couple times you've sent the photos back to me and just been like, man, I want to do this again because it's so beautiful. So riding, how is skating in locations that are just surreal? How does that make you feel?
It makes me sort of pinch myself at the same time. It's like, how did we get here? It's like, can you believe it? Like, we're making our own rules and creating our own path to be here, and we're just going, nah, let's go here and do this. So that's a pretty good feeling of empowerment to just and pinch myself that we've got to that position to be able to do that. And like just looking at that other section in the video there where we were more sort of in the pine trees, and that was another epic sort of few corners. And I still remember coming around that berm. You had to go downhill, and then it was a real tight turn, and it took us a while to get that right line. So I can't wait to do this again. Yeah. So the next location, where is it going to be? Rotorua over in New Zealand, because
if they let us in.
If they let us in,
it won't be too long.
Hopefully not. They're talking about the travel bubble at the moment, or down in Tassie.
Yeah, maybe Tassie. There's a lot of awesome tracks around. There's even some locally that I think we should go shoot some stuff at. Even if it's just a little Instagram clip or something like that, get back on those hardcore trails.
Well, at the end of the day, it's what it's about. You know, we don't want to be stuck in the office, you know, just doing what we do. We've got an electric skate brand. We got AT boards and street boards. It's about getting out and riding, and then, you know, now thinking about like those earliest videos that we were just talking about. That's the grassroots shit, man. That's how we started, and we can never lose that. You know, in everything we do, we got to just bring it back to, why are we doing this? You know, how does it make you feel? And yeah, when it's a busy day and you know, something's going on, or, you know, because it's not easy running a big business. Well, I think it's big for what I've never done it like this before, but just, you know, you got the chaos in the day, and then you just look back and you see the pictures on Instagram, why people ride, and then I watch that and it's like, yeah, that's what it's about. Yeah, appreciate it. You know, just reflect.
Awesome. I think that's going to do us on this one.
Sweet.
Again, it would give us good vibes if you can jump on the like button, smash that, leave a comment, tell us to keep doing the podcast. If there's any other people or ideas you want us to talk about, drop that in there too. And we just want to keep this rolling. It's fun. It's a good way to connect with everyone. So yeah, thanks guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Happy days.